So in the last artist entrails, I did simplified forms for arms. Today I wanted to get into more details, which is just essentially how an arm gets from this to this. Here's some studies that I did off screen, mainly because they were traditional and I don't have a way of filming myself draw traditionally, and here are the books that we're going to be using to study today, as well as Pinterest. I will link my Pinterest board down below, maybe if I remember. I don't know, I have a really bad memory. Now last time and for these studies, I used the Simplified Forms Morpho book by Michelle Loricella. Today I'll still be using that, but more so the Muscled Bodies Morpho book. Now I decided to start with my Pinterest board, picking out pictures from my picture refs section, simplifying the part of the body that's attached to the arm and the arm itself, using the knowledge that I learned in the last video, so that I can focus more on detail this time around. One thing I've noticed previously, but I don't think I've gotten quite the grasp on yet, when it comes to finally getting to the coloring part of arms, is the flat surfaces on a shoulder, because they're not round, they're kind of boxy in a way. And so in a lot of lighting, there's a specific area on the arm that is highlighted often. And if I have the time, I want to do a full illustration at the end of this video like I did in the last one, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, I'm making these voice recordings before I even finish the video, because if I have to edit like 20 hours of footage in one go, I'll crash out and this editing will be terrible. That's why I edit in parts. I call that the ADHD Riz. Anyways, another thing that I noticed is that when you lift up the arm, because I've been having a lot of troubles figuring out how the armpit attaches to both the arm and the breast tissue. You'll see it in the video. I'm not very good at explaining things. I'm a visual learner, which is, odd because I'm also a writer, so that doesn't make any sense, but regardless. I noted everything in the video, so trying to explain it when I've already done that, I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm stupid somehow, but not somehow, I'm stupid in a lot of ways. But anyway, so the blue is highlighting shadows or places of contour. Like in makeup, contour is the indent or the area that is deep, the deep end of your faces. And then the red on this is your highlights, the areas that are most prominent, that come out, the mountainous part of your faces. And I was just trying to do that to help my mind recognize places that I need to emphasize when I draw. All of these will be on my Patreon. All of my notes, all of my studies will always be on Patreon when I do them like this. Another pattern that I noticed, and reasonably not the last pattern I noticed, is when your arm bends, there's a amount of flesh that goes in between the middle crease of the arm where your arm bends and your elbow. On the outside, I don't think it shows on the inside, but you'll see it a lot more on muscular arms than skinny arms. And you'll see my notes on it in this video. I believe this is right where I identify the bicep and how it connects to the pec or the breast tissue, the bicep, and then the backbone. I forgot to mention the backbone last time, but it has to connect with the backbone. In a way, the elbow is often also kind of like a awkward diagonal rectangle. The trapezoid? Is that a trapezoid? I don't know. See, that's what I mean by the flesh fold right there. And then I was just doing some more studies on arms, because again, I'm just looking at Pinterest photos. I had never thought about connecting the arm to the backbone, and ironically, I actually was struggling to figure out where the backbone was. So this was like a really nice completing study for me. The real question is if I'll retain any of this or completely forget in 5 seconds. This part. I have been struggling so hard with figuring out how the arms and like the collarbone looks from this angle, so this was a really nice photo. I'm glad it was in my picture refs on my Pinterest board. We don't usually look at the part of body from this angle. There's a lot of angles that we don't look at a lot, but come in handy a lot when it comes to things like comics, which is what I'm making, which is what these studies are for. Next, we're going to get into the muscled bodies morpho book. Now, as with all of these studies, it took me a minute to figure out how I wanted to use each of these methods. Often with studies, the most annoying part is repeating the same kind of drawing over and over, but it is necessary in order to understand the patterns that happen with many different types of bodies and many different people, even in slightly different poses or perspectives. So throughout a lot of this was just drawing what I saw and trying to understand what I'm seeing. And then at some point I'm able to see things that I was continuously repeating, shapes that I continued to repeat. Often when people are learning to draw, including myself, we focus so much on the details because we know the details are important. Of course they are. They make up a huge part of what we're seeing, but the shapes matter just as much, and we tend to forget them. And the shapes often define the details as much as the details define the shapes. Earlier in this video, you saw me say that I was trying to learn the collarbones from that perspective at the top, and once again you see me here drawing and re-understanding it again. One important thing to learn skills is to hardwire it into your brain. When you're learning, you're not going to remember everything that you learn. Instead, it's good to memorize a few things at a time, get good at it, and then return to what you didn't remember and try again, because you're now used to some things that you weren't used to before, and you can learn new things because of that. For example, in the last video, I did a lot of arm studies, but I don't think I would have retained the same details that I learned today because I was so busy learning shapes, and that's a good thing. I needed to learn those shapes before I could get to these details that I'm learning in this video. There's 206 bones, 605 muscles, and a million other parts to the body that you have to learn. It's okay to take it slow. It's okay that it takes a long time. Think of your time as currency and your skills as levels in video games. No, I don't mean boss levels. I mean the leveling of your skills. Say you have 3: flight, swimming, and sorcery. To level up these skills, you need to use currency, but you only have so much currency, so it's slow, and you progress slow, and you don't always have the same level for all of your skills. Sometimes your sorcery is level 10 and your flying is level 2, and that's okay because you can spend time gaining currency to get enough to equalize your levels. That is art. Take it slow, take your time. And remember that you often need a refresher on your skills, regardless of how many times you've drawn them. As is anything, our memories are not perfect. Our imaginations can often take hold and morph things that, when we restudy, learn that look quite different than we imagined, even though we've studied it before. Wildly off topic, but I've been considering for a long time now making an anatomy book. And of course, I'm not quite ready to do so, seeing as that I still need to learn a lot of anatomy, but I feel as though there's methods of learning that I don't often see in books that I'd like to. Mainly because I'd want more people to be able to draw well so I can see more pretty art. I follow like 1,000 amazing artists on various social medias, and I still need more. Also, a good tip for learning how to shade with colors is to learn to shade with pencil or grayscale shading. Often when you try too hard to focus on the colors, you forget the actual shapes you're defining. I often forget the actual shapes I'm defining, that's why I'm saying this. You know, I wonder if anyone's actually even watching this video and for this long, or if anyone's using it to draw and listen to me yap. I can't imagine my voice is very soothing, though. I did forget to record some of the pages that I had done. Nonetheless, I hope it's helped someone to see how I take note of things. And now we're going to go into the practice of applying what I've learned to an actual illustration. You know, except that I forgot to record, so here's just the pictures, and I corrected it, and then I colored it. Okay, bye-bye!